Minecraft. One of the most beloved games of the 21st century. Also the best-selling of the last, forever, really. Wow. Really has made an impact on people, hasn't it? You know, millions, if not like hundreds of millions of copies worldwide. Or even billions. I haven't been keeping track. So many, there were so many good updates to it. I mean, it certainly slowed down the last few years, but back then, things like the Village and Pillage update, the Nether update, it just had to be there, man. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about one of the long neglected and long forgotten spin-offs. Something that still has a bit of a cult following to this day. Not big, but it still exists, and I'm part of it. No, not Minecraft Story Mode. It's Minecraft Dungeons. Didn't you read the title? But seriously though, today we're talking about Minecraft Dungeons. It's actually quite a good game, you know. It's really an underrated gem of a Minecraft spin-off. I mean, all of them are underrated. I mean, I haven't played Minecraft Legends, so I can't say on that, but still. Minecraft Dungeons, this one's gotta be my favorite of the 3 spin-offs. And by the way, yes, I am counting Story Mode Season 1 and 2 as the same thing. Screw off if you think otherwise. Anyway, sorry about that. Let's get into the video, enough wasting your time. So, not really going to talk about the story. Doesn't really matter. Like, it's barely there, you know, just some ooh, so grumpy guy Well, fine, I'll explain the story. Some tiny illager gets racism out of all the villages in the neighborhood, and so takes over the world. That's basically the story. Then the DLC is just you collecting a bunch of pieces from an orb they used to take it over in the base game. But that's it for the story. It's pretty basic, but I'm here to talk about a bit more than that. So, this first section, we're going to talk about the combat, specifically the enemies and boss fights. The enemies can be pretty basic, you know, just your average skeleton shooting a bow. You know, you got your ranged characters, your melee enemies. You even got the spiders who hit you with webs and to stick you in place so they can come in and melee you without much resistance. Well, except for your sword, of course, you can still use that. But seriously, pair up a spider and skeleton, that's a pretty good combo. But I also want to talk about the enchanters. They don't do anything themselves. They're support enemies. They make other enemies stronger. Their only attack is a flimsy book. Although they're not always needed in higher levels like Apocalypse Plus, where pretty much every second enemy is enchanted on their own. So yeah. Besides that, there's also many varied bosses throughout the game, which I'm gonna pick out 3 standout examples, one of which is from one of the DLCs. So, first of all, the Redstone Monstrosity. This one's awesome. This one slams down the ground, you know, pretty basic attack, and also sends in a bunch of rolling mushroom blocks, I guess, after you, which they are pretty nice foreshadowing for the secret cow level. Oh, whoops, I spoiled that. I'll get onto that later, but for now, he has some pretty cool attacks, and he's generally a really hard boss to deal with. But once you defeat him, then you're pretty much done with the level he's in, except for a few more enemies. But seriously, if you die at the very end, after using up your other tomes of undying, that sucks. But seriously though, let's move on from that and on to the final boss of the game, the Arch-Illager, aka the Heart of Ender. This one is definitely my second favorite boss, to be sure. It's quite fun to play through, and also the hardest boss in the game. Actually, no, I'm gonna give that whole section, but I'm just gonna move on to the what's it called? The Vengeful Heart of Ender, the final boss of the Echoing Void DLC, the final DLC released for the game before it was basically abandoned. But basically, it's basically the Heart of Ender but it's retreated. It's basically like it's literally the physical, literally the words are hard. Okay, words are hard for autistic people, but yeah, it's basically the reincarnation of the physical embodiment, the personification of the orb of dominance from the base game, the MacGuffin that the Arch-Illager uses. But, yeah, the Vengeful Heart Avenger may not be the hardest boss, it's only the second hardest, but it's definitely the most fun. It can pull you in with some kind of magnetic field thingies. It can send off a bunch of endermites to attack you. It can fire off laser beams and little blasts of energy. It's pretty fun. But once you beat that, you've basically completed the entire story, assuming that you've beaten every other DLC, which I have not. But anyways, besides that, we also have a few more things we can talk about. Well, I'm gonna give alright, time for the Heart Avenger to get his spot, his section. So, this is who I personally consider the final of the big three bosses. Like we have our big three in this game: the Redstone Monstrosity, the Vengeful Heart Avenger, and the Heart Avenger, the final boss of the base game. It starts off as Phase 1, the Arch-Illager, the main antagonist of the entire game. And, it's actually fairly easy, I'd say the Redstone Monstrosity is harder, but nope. Phase 2 kicks in and boom, lasers, blasts, crawling around. It's all insane. Seriously, let me just talk about this thing's attacks real quick. Actually, no, I'm just gonna show them. Words cannot describe this. I know it may not look like much, and you're probably thinking, oh, I could survive that easily. Trust me, you could not. You just have to fight this guy to truly see how tough this thing is. But once you get through that phase, you get the final cutscene, and you get some kind of reward for being the boss. It can range from, anything really. From a basic common weapon or armor piece to a unique item. Oh yeah, unique items. Those are also a thing. So I guess we should go into gear now. So let's start with weapons. So in this game, you have two weapons: a sword and a bow/crossbow. You can get any kind of sword. This isn't even limited to swords. You can also get like a pickaxe, an axe. You can even fight people with a whole frickin' anchor. And there are also some pretty cool uniques, like one of the most popular is Fighter's Bindings. It's basically just really fast fists. Trust me, doesn't sound like much, but it's sick as hell. But yeah, there's also the ranged weapons, which there's many different uniques, like the one that I currently use, Purple Storm, or as I've nicknamed it, the God Killer. Seriously, you have to see this thing. You have to see the enchantments I got on this thing. Let me just say this. I got Max Dynamo, meaning that the more rolls I do, the higher the damage gets. Max Power, and Max Supercharge, or Overcharge, or whatever it's called, so I can pull it back even further than a single charge, and do even more damage. And it's cap right now. And that's not even, it's not even at, the super ridiculously high levels yet. at the highest so far, that thing can deal over 200,000 damage to enemies. Seriously, this thing is my secret weapon against any boss. Jeez. The power of RNG. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention enchantments, so, those are also a thing in this game. So, this is mainly a thing with melee weapons, ranged weapons, and armor. Wait, not mainly, entirely a thing. So, basically, they work pretty much exactly like how Minecraft enchantments do, except there's different, like, effects. Like, for instance, growing arrows deal more damage, or ricocheting arrows, so one arrow bounces between multiple targets, or, well, there's the classic ones from the games, like sharpness, or smite, you know, but there's also other ones, like one, like thundering, for instance, where you can occasionally slam down, like, a lightning strike. Then unique weapons automatically have those enchantments built into them, but you can still get more enchantments for it. So, like, for instance, the Thundering Hammer, I think it's called, or something along those lines, is literally just Mjolnir. But, yeah. Besides enchantments, oh yeah, there's also armor. It's literally just, it's basically just, like, think armor in literally any other RPG. It's literally just extra health. But, besides that, there's also, oh yeah, there's also the, what are they called? Items, I'm just gonna call them for now. I think they're called relics. Basically, like, special, like, other items you can use during gameplay. For instance, there are some that spawn in things to help you in battle. Like, for instance, iron golems or wolves. Or there's ones that deal damage, like one that calls down lightning, like the lightning rod, or the corrupted beacon, which is literally just a rail cannon. Seriously. If you ever play this game, you gotta get a bunch of mobs in a line and then hit them with a corrupted beacon. That is so satisfying. Just get them all in a line and then boom! Just take them all out at once. It's so cool. But, yeah. There's a bunch of different ones out there that you can do, and many people have made their own builds. I'm currently searching to make the most powerful build possible, and I've already got the God Killer in place, you know, my bow. But, I'm still struggling to find the rest, although oh yeah, they're called artifacts. My artifacts are pretty set in stone by this point. A lightning rod, an iron golem, and a totem of healing, which basically creates a small circle for you and your friends to heal. Oh yeah, this is also a multiplayer game. You can play this with up to 4 people. Pretty sure that's the intended setting, but I exclusively play by myself. I know. I have no friends. But, yeah, besides that, there's also some other things you can partake in. For instance, there's the tower, which refreshes every week, I think, where basically, like, you can go through and it's basically just wave mode, I guess, like waves of enemies. Like, the higher up you are when you finally lose, or if you win by getting to the highest level on the tower, which is met with a boss fight, you will get certain gear. Like, for instance, you can get, like, you can get 0 gear if you die in, like, the first few levels. You can get some pretty decent gear if you die in some of the higher levels. Or you can get the choice between a few different unique items if you get to if you beat the level, like the top level. And there's also the, it's called a gold hunt or something, I don't know, where you can basically go into the nether and you can basically win, like, gilded items, which are basically just upgraded items. But, yeah, there's also the 3 difficulties of the game. The first one is the one you automatically start on. It's called normal mode, which is basically the easy mode for the game. Then there's adventure mode, which is the game's actual normal mode. And then there's the game's hard mode, which is basically just normal mode for high-level players like myself. Apocalypse. It's the second highest, actually. The highest is actually a subcategory of Apocalypse called Apocalypse Plus. That's basically like if Apocalypse is hard mode, then Apocalypse Plus is really hard mode. Still waiting for the day when I can finally get Apocalypse plus 27, the highest level in the game, and defeat the Heart of Ender. That'll be a day to remember. But anyways, but yeah, what else is there to talk about, really? I haven't played many of the DLCs. I mean, the tower mode can actually give you a little taste of some of the DLCs. Like, you can actually, like, see some of the DLC enemies and bosses in the tower mode. But, what else is there to talk about, really? I can't really think of anything. If there's any other Minecraft Dungeons experts in the comment section, then maybe we'll talk about it. But, generally, I think that regardless of its popularity or how much Minecraft cares about it, or Mojang and Microsoft, I guess, look, no matter how little Microsoft cares about it, I think Minecraft Dungeons is the best Minecraft spin-off out there. I haven't played Minecraft Legends yet, so I can't really say, but I haven't heard that's the best. But, anyways, I highly recommend you check it out for yourself. It's on pretty much anything you can find Minecraft on, so, if you play Minecraft, you have no excuse. Now, go play. You're not gonna regret it, my friends.